being happy. That's it. I just want to give you a training on how you can be more happy. I'm going to give you 5 happiness hacks today in this video that you can begin implementing today in your life in an effort to be more happy, more joyous, which is your natural state of being. I mean, have you ever felt that way? Have you ever felt like, you're meant to be happy? That's not to deny life's ups and downs and life's negative emotions, and we should have those, and we should honor those. We should honor our negative emotions and the whole gamut of the human experience and the negative emotions and the positive emotions that we feel. But overall, in general, your overarching theme ought to be simply happy. You wake up happy, you go to bed happy, you're happy to be alive. As the old saying goes, any day above ground is a good day. But we all know that in today's life, there are challenges. In today's busy world, if we want to find things to be unhappy about, we're going to find them. It's easy to find things to be unhappy about in the world in general and in our own personal world. And I know this. I know that people are struggling out there. And the reason I know that is because people have reached out to me on social media. They found my website, senseironthomas.com, and they've sent me an email or reached out to me on Facebook somehow and sent me a private message asking for advice, asking for coaching, if you will, or just a little bit of advice on how they can be happier. I got so many messages once people found out that I was not just an actor, but a motivational speaker and a life coach and a trainer and a mindset coach. They reached out to me because they were dealing with issues. And so listen, I first want to make this disclaimer right away. I'm not a psychiatrist. I'm not a psychologist. If you've been struggling to be happy, if you're in a deep state of sadness or depression, anxiety, those types of things, and you've been dealing with that for some time, go get help. There's nothing wrong with getting help. The stigmatism from the past is old. It's outdated. There's no sort of stigma around going to get help anymore in the mental health area. We could all use it from time to time. God knows. In this day and age, in this world where we're dealing with so much struggle and challenge and negativity, bathing us on a daily basis, especially if you turn on the TV, especially if you turn on social media, especially if you listen to your friends and your family members complaining all the time, or your coworkers or your teammates. Look, there's a lot of stuff coming at us, and a lot of it isn't so positive, is it? And over time, it can take its toll on us. It can wear on us. So go get help. I'm just going to lay that right out there. It's not there's nothing wrong with that. Go get help if you need it. But I want to give you 5 happiness hacks that you can begin implementing today in your life that can maybe help you change some of those things. And actually, some of the hacks that I'm going to give you actually do deal with and will help you change your brain chemistry. Part of the thing about going to get diagnosed and dealing with professionals who are going to give you a diagnosis is to say that your brain chemistry's off, your biochemistry's off, and that's probably true. But there are things that you can do on a daily basis to change your brain chemistry. It doesn't have to be that way all the time. It doesn't have to be that way. For most people, there are things you can implement and ways you can change your brain chemistry, your neural networks, your neural pathways. Thank God for the human brain and its neuroplasticity and its ability to rewire and change and produce chemicals. Exercise, for example, we know that it produces happiness chemicals, serotonin and dopamine, right? The brain has the ability to produce these chemicals. Now, there may be something going on in your biochemistry that's blocking those or hindering those chemicals to be fully at a level where they should be in your brain. I don't know. Go talk to a professional, and there's nothing wrong with that. But I do know that I wrote this book. I wrote this little book called Positive Thinking is for Sissies, And the subtitle is Master Your Damn Emotions, which translates to master your negative emotions, like fear, like anxiety, like sadness, etc. Because guess what? Until you do, they're mastering you. See, I have it that you don't have a mind. Your mind has you. You don't have your emotions have you. Much of the time. True or true? You know it's true. And it's true for all of us until we begin to step on a path of mastery. Until we begin to really take an in-depth look at ourselves in the mirror, own some of our stuff, and really intentionally want to change those things. And so without further ado, I want to get right into this training on happiness hacks. And I hope it serves you. I hope it serves you. So being happy. How often have you heard happiness is a choice? Just be happy. Just choose happiness. It's not that easy, right? It's not that easy. I know for a fact. If it's just too abstract of an idea, just be happy. Just choose happiness. It is a choice. That is true. But the art is in being. I want to say that again. The art is in being. Who are you being? And what do you want to be? And what do you need to be in order to finally be happy? So let's look at who you're being, who you've been being, who you need to be in order for you to be happy. Okay? Because you can't just choose happiness. You can't just don't worry, be happy, man. You know, it's not that easy, especially when you're dealing with real pain and real struggles and real challenges in life. So let's look at the first hack. The first happiness hack that I want you to pay attention to is to be sleeping 7 to 9 hours, depending on your body type, usually around 8 hours. Now look, you need to be sleeping, and you need to be sleeping comfortably for at least 8 hours. The research is in 50, 60, 65 years, 70 years of sleep research. The science is definitive. You cannot argue with it. It is a fact. The days of saying, you know, I only need 4 or 5 hours of sleep, the type A personalities who say, I'll sleep when I'm dead, you will be dead a lot sooner if you don't get 7 to 9 hours of sleep. 7 at a minimum. 8's good. 8.5 hours of sleep is good. And look, don't take my word for it. Just Google it. Just do the research. Just check it out. The latest research after 50, 60, 70 years is definitive. You need sleep, and you need to be sleeping through the night. So you need to be sleeping for 8 hours a night. Now, there are things that you can do to help you sleep. If you're, as an example, if you're getting up 4 or 5 times a night to pee, hello, don't drink water past 6 or 7 o'clock at night. Don't drink caffeine past 4:30 in the afternoon. There are certain things you can do that help you be sleeping for 8 hours. But look, if you don't get 8 hours of sleep, your cognitive skills, your cognitive levels, your ability to think cognitively, your scores go down. If you were to be tested, and you don't feel it, but I heard somebody say it's equivalent to being drunk. You're effectively, the next day, you're drunk, effectively. Now, you don't feel that way. You don't notice it. But if you were to do anything at a cognitive level or take some cognitive tests and scores, your scores go down. It's the same as being drunk. It affects your brain chemistry. It affects your mood. It affects how you show up. Look, we're talking about your mood. We're talking about your attitude and your mood. And if you want to be happy and have a happiness, an attitude that's infused around happy and happiness, you have to be sleeping. That's the first hack. And you can implement that right away. You can turn off the TV a half hour to an hour before you go to sleep. No media, no social media, no phone, no texting, and just begin to develop a habit of sleep. Maybe reading. Reading does help people to kind of quiet the mind and zone in, relax the body, and do things that are going to help you get better quality sleep and more of it. You got to do it, okay? The research is in, like I said, Google it, don't take my word for it, go look. And there are things that you can do to be sleeping better, and you'll feel better. You'll be more focused, you'll be more energized. We're talking about your well-being. Being happy is really about your wellness, your well-being. And sleep is a huge, huge factor in how you're showing up on a daily basis and whether you're showing up at all if you're not getting any sleep, right? So be sleeping, hack number 1. Hack number 2, be eating. Now, I know that you're probably thinking, well, this is just common sense. This is just, I know, you need to be eating healthy. You need to be eating healthy foods. It's not just what you're eating, but it's how you're eating. Nutrition plays a huge factor in your mood and your attitude and whether or not you can access happiness or you're going to access sadness or frustration or stress and flood your system with cortisol and those types of things. It depends. We know that sleeping and eating in those two healthy habits are going to help you be happy, right? It's just common sense, but common sense is not always common practice. It's common sense. Everybody knows this stuff. These are not secrets. They're common sense. But people aren't putting them into play. Common sense is not always common practice. You have to put them into practice if you want sensible results and sensible solutions to your wellness and your well-being and being happy. So be sleeping, be eating. I'm not going to give you a course on nutrition. I'm not a nutritionist. I've studied it. I know what's good for you. I know what's bad for you. And so do you. It's no secret anymore. Google it. Do the research, what to eat and how to eat. It's very important. How to eat. You'd be amazed at how many people eat 1 meal a day, 1 or 2 meals a day. And they go for hours without anything. They go and not even drinking water. What's the number one cause of headache? How can you be happy when you have an excruciating headache? It's difficult. You're in physical pain. It's difficult to be happy. What's the number one cause of headache? Dehydration. Drink more water. It's just common sense. If you're going for hours and hours without eating and skipping meals and you're not eating the right thing, then you're going into a blood sugar drop. You're not managing your blood sugar the correct way. Don't manage your blood sugar. Don't expect to be happy. That simple. You have to manage your blood sugar. You have to manage what you're eating. You have to give your body a chance. You don't have a mind and a body. You have a mind-body, one system. What you feed your mind affects your body. What you feed your body affects your mind. It's one system. So you have to manage that system and the energy levels of your system. You have to be more masterful in how you treat yourself. Mentally, physically, emotionally, spiritually, you have to be more masterful. And so be eating healthy, right? Common sense, but not always common practice. The next hack, be moving. What do I mean? Again, another common sense tactic, be moving. Exercise, move the body. The body is not meant to be sedentary. It's not meant to be still and lying around all the time or sitting around doing nothing. You need to exercise. The research is in, it's definitive. The fact is that when you exercise, when you move, the brain produces chemicals like dopamine and serotonin and happiness chemicals, and it releases stress. So if you're a person who's stressed out, you have to find time. You don't find time. Time is available. You have to block it out. You have to put it in your schedule. You have to make time in your schedule to move, be moving. Now, there's lots of ways to move. You don't have to go to the gym. If you're not a gym person, then don't go to the gym. I recommend it because you not only need to be moving, but you need to be doing aerobic exercise, which is moving, and anaerobic exercise, which is weightlifting, muscle training, muscle developing, toning. You don't need a gym for that. I do recommend it. I recommend getting, acclimated if you've never been to a gym before on how to work the different muscle groups, the shoulders, the biceps, the triceps, the stomach, the glutes, the entire body. Give them some weight training. But you can do push-ups and sit-ups at home. You can buy gym equipment, but if you buy gym equipment and put it in your home, it usually ends up, a clothing rack. You usually end up just throwing the dirty clothes or the freshly washed clothes on them to dry, and you don't use that equipment. I recommend going to the gym, and I recommend getting a trainer. I recommend, or at least a workout buddy, somebody to hold you accountable and to go work out with, which is always more fun anyway. So look, be moving. Anaerobic exercise, weightlifting, very important, a couple days a week. As importantly, move that body, get the heart rate up 20 to 30 minutes a day, at least 4 to 5 days a week. Or you can go on a 3 and 2 schedule. 3 days a week, you're doing your workout, you're going for a walk out in nature, you're riding a bike, you're doing something outdoors, you're indoors on the gym, on the ellipticals, whatever it is you need to do to get your heart rate up. Swimming. I love swimming. I was a competitive swimmer. I still do it today. I was in the pool today before I shot this video. So look, be moving and do some weight training. Okay? I'm not going to go further into that because again, it's no secret and it's not hard to find experts in those areas who can help you with your physical workouts and the reasons why you should. The research, I'm just giving you a couple key pointers, but if you Google, the benefits of exercise on the brain, just Google that and you'll find tons of information that are going to support what I'm telling you today. Be sleeping, be eating, be moving, and the fourth hack is be intentional. Oh, that's different. Hadn't thought about that. Be intentional. Maybe not so common sense. The first 3, pretty common sense. Be intentional. What does that mean? That means waking up in the morning and being intentional about your happiness. Being intentional about how you want the day to go. Being intentional about how you want the meeting to go at work. Being intentional how you want to show up with your children. Being intentional about how you want to show up with your lover, your partner, your spouse. Being intentional about how you want your day to go, your meeting to go, the situation to go. If you've had a long day, as an example, and your boss was yelling at you and you can't stand your coworkers and there's a lot of negativity, don't bring that stuff home. Be intentional before you walk in the home at the end of the day about how you want to be with your children, about how you want to be with your wife. So pull up in your driveway, stop, turn off the car, and set an intention. Take a breath, take a moment, leave the work behind you, and set an intention to be present with your children, to be accessible, to be playful, to be happy. Set the intention to be happy. No matter what's happening at work, set the intention to be happy and to walk into that house in a state of mind and a state of being that allows you to be present and have fun with your children, right? And that's just one example. You have to be intentional about your life if you want to be masterful. I wrote the book, Positive Thinking is for Sissies. I'm not saying that positive thinking is a bad thing. I think we should all think positively. I think we should all have a positive attitude. But if that's your strategy for being happy or winning, look, you can be a positive thinker and be broke. You can be a positive thinker and still be going through a diagnosis or a divorce or a bankruptcy. Look, positive thinking is kind of like, when one door closes, another one opens. There's a silver lining in every cloud, and it's great to think that way. But that's not going to help you master the things that are choking off your happiness, that are blocking you from succeeding in life. So While positive thinking is for sissies, mastery is for warriors. Mastery causes you, for one thing, to be more intentional. You have to be, if you're going to be more masterful, you have to be more intentional. But it also, to walk the path of self-mastery, you have to look in the mirror and own your crap. You got to own your stuff. And it's painful sometimes to look in the mirror and own some of the stuff that you've been projecting on the world and blaming everyone else for, and blaming the world for your unhappiness. Happiness doesn't happen to you. It happens through you. It happens because of you. It happens because of you being, sleeping, eating, moving, and being intentional. It happens through your mindset. I'm talking about mastery. So if you want to be more masterful over your emotions, and rather than them having them master you, be intentional. I'll give you one thing you can be really intentional about on a daily basis if you want to be more happy. Be intentional about being playful. Intend to find times in your day where you can be playful. Now, what does that mean? That means simply that. Be playful. Be playful with your coworkers. Be playful with your spouse. Be playful with life. Tell jokes. Do some pranks that won't hurt anybody. But I did the Conan show up at Universal Studios, and if any of my fellow cast members from back in the day up at Universal Studios who worked with me over any given period of time, I had a reputation. You might even be watching this video. Hi guys, if you're out there. I had a reputation of being a prankster, but I never hurt anybody that I know of. I never hurt anybody intentionally. It was just like, doing 4 to 6 shows a day over a period of years got to be a little boring. It got to be a little, tough to show up at work, especially when we were dealing with, it was like corporate theater. We were dealing with a lot of negativity from the corporate offices and a lot of pressure on us to perform and keep our jobs, even though we're doing 4 to 6 to 7 shows a day, which is very exhausting physically and mentally already. On top of it, the corporate offices putting pressure on us to perform, and we always felt like we were, every show was like an audition for a job that we'd already gotten. That was a lot of pressure. In other words, they were saying, well, look, we might fire you at any given moment. We could replace you. That got to be the culture over time. And so one of the things I did to relieve that stress, one of my stress relieving valves, and I think my fellow coworkers, as much as they didn't want to be on the receiving end of my pranks, appreciated it because we all had great laughs. All had great times. And I received some of their pranks too. So being a prankster is fun. It's playful, as long as you're not hurting anybody, right? As long as it's all done in good taste and thoughtful, and you're not, you're not pranking somebody that's really going to hurt them or upset them. And so be playful. Be intentional about being playful. That's just one idea. Of course, I have more. And the fifth hack that you can use is be still. Be still. What does that mean? That means find stillness. Now, what am I talking about? In a world of doing, we've forgotten that we're human beings. We think we're human doings. The mind thinks that it needs to be doing something all the time. And if you sit still and try to be quiet for any length of time, the mind wants to do. It wants to find something to do, which makes it very hard for most people who don't practice stillness to just be still. Be what? Be still. Ultimately, not even be still, just be. Just be. You're a human being. Have you ever given yourself time to just be? And the mind wants to go, be what? Be happy? Be still? Be sad? Be focused? Be disciplined? Be what? What? The mind? No, nothing. Just be. Just be. In a world of uncertainty, there's two words that you can say to yourself. One thing, 2 words that you can say to yourself that will help you just be. And you can sit there and you can just say, I exist. Because in a world of uncertainty, that is a certainty. You exist. I exist. I exist. Just be. Without having to put the pressure on yourself to have to be anything. Just be. Now, am I talking about meditation? Yes, sort of. Sort of, but not really. You don't have to meditate. You just have to find times in your day to be still. Now, do I recommend meditation? Yes. Again, the research is definitive. Go look it up on Google. Go look it up online. Research the benefits to your mood, your well-being, your state of mind, your brain function, your brain chemistry. Look up the benefits of meditating, and you're going to find many. There are many benefits. But related to meditating, I'm not talking about taking 20, 30, 40 minutes to sit there and meditate. That's an art in and of itself, and I do recommend it. But just be still for 1 minute in between activities. Like if you're at work and you go from a meeting to a conversation with your coworkers, to emails, to answering phones, to more emails, to doing this report, to doing this spreadsheet, Have you ever thought about taking 1 minute in between each of those activities? Taking a break, like shutting the lights off, letting the light bulb cool, just to be still? And not only that, between activities, I recommend starting your day out from a state of stillness. Just 5 minutes in the morning, 5 minutes at night, and a few times during the day. I talked earlier about coming home from a long day, and you're sitting in your car, and you're being intentional about how you're going to walk in the door and show up with the most important people in your life and in your world. Be intentional about that. Well, before you do that, you can also add being still. Just taking a moment to not be intentional, not be anything, just be still. Silent. Because you're not your thoughts. You have thoughts, but they're not you. So in your stillness, one of the first practices is to have your thoughts be out there. Like you're looking out a window onto traffic and you're watching the thoughts go by this way and this way. You're detaching from them and just observing them rather than participating in them and with them, which will take you who knows where, because the mind doesn't want to shut up. But if you can detach yourself from your thoughts, take a moment of stillness and just watch the activity. And then slowly let the activity, let the traffic die away. Just let the traffic go still. And let your mind go still just for a minute. Follow the breath is another thing to do. You do those simultaneously. Have your thoughts be out there and just have the breath. Follow the breath in through the nostrils, down to the pit of the stomach. Hold it. Release. Let go. Release. Let go. Another couple of words you can say to yourself besides I exist is release. Release. Let go. Let go. Release. Just find some moments of stillness in the world that is so chaotic. Being present can be a real challenge in and of itself. Present with yourself, present with your family, present with the people you care about, present with life, present to what's going right in your life, present to what's working. There's an old saying that if you can fog a mirror, something's working. So if you can fog a mirror, if you can listen to this video, something's working in your life. Be present to that, because too often the mind wants to find all the things that aren't working. That leads to unhappiness. That is the road to unhappiness. If you want to be happy, find stillness, be intentional, be exercising, be moving that body, be eating, be sleeping. Now, I got a lot more. We could go way deeper into your wellness, your well-being, your happiness. And I hope I've served you today. I hope these things will help you begin thinking about some things that you can do in your life to just find more happiness, to be more happiness. And maybe you're just a happy person already and you're just watching this video to check it out, to check me out. But maybe there's somebody you should share this video with. Maybe there's somebody in your life who could use this information. If I've said anything at all, if I've said one or two things today that gives that person an idea of how they can begin to intentionally be happy. The art of being happy has to do with being other things. Share it with them.